He didn't do it. Even to pass the ball, 3 passes together, he couldn't do that. But like I said, individually they are brilliant. But as a team, we don't have a team. So the boys need to also understand themselves how they can solve this problem. Because
considering the caliber of the material on the field of play, in your opinion, looking at the players, who should take that responsibility on the field of play?
I think all the players should be leaders on the field, because you cannot have only the captain or Amate who has been pushing so hard, talking to the players most of the time when you see him. Every player must be a leader, especially when you're playing for the national team. The color you are wearing is something that you cannot joke with it. So every player, each and every one, have to step up their game.
But you see, players are not rated for nothing. I must say, Partey today, I'm very sorry, but Partey was too ordinary. The level of Partey and the kind of respect that Partey, commands, I needed, and I personally wanted to see something more from Partey. I wanted Partey to come receive the ball and initiate the moves. Even 2, 3, 4 passes, meaningful passes, there was none. The writer, we have a big challenge at hand, and we need to wake up to the reality. And the players, it is the responsibility of the players to do this.
I know that John has a very soft spot for Milo. I'm not taking it on that, but does it surprise you that Milo had to wait till the 85th minute to make those changes that he made, pulling out Pinto, Jordan, Partey, and Kamaldeen for Tete, Che, Ishaku, and Boachiado? It was obvious, even before that time, that there were a few things wrong with the team and that substitutions had to be effected. Why would he wait till 5 minutes to the end of the game after conceding that goal to make all these changes?
I was really surprised. Even taking Pencil out wasn't the right time to do it. But I wasn't in his shoe. But watching from afar, I think Pencil was doing most of the dynamics on the field, moving from left and right, also trying to even find the net. Many occasions which didn't work, but he was trying. He was doing well. He should have kept him going, and then maybe other changes around that he could have done. But I would say that change wasn't called for.
Yeah, but the writer, it's our captain. I think he had lost some blood, and I expected that they had to give him some respite. It was dangerous. Today he was running. To be honest with you, he showed some high energy levels today. He was involved the whole time. But I thought that at the latter stages of the game, save some time and also save the team. Save the player, save the team.
Also, tactically, it surprised me a bit because most of the attacks, I think they wanted to build through the middle. We saw those surging runs occasionally from Kamaldeen, especially in the first half, and then Pinto on those individual runs. But as a unit, building up, I never saw any consistent attacks, for example, on the bar line. So you would have expected Baba Rahman and Giadom to be attacking on the flanks to ensure that at least the congestion in the middle was a little limited.
The writer, you can only do this if you have supporting players. You have the ball, you need options. You need teammates to give you the angle, the passing angles, so that you can play and move forward. But these supporting players were not there. They were not prepared to run. And there were certain occasions you had the individual, Kamaldeen for instance, he will run upfield with the ball and there's no single support from behind.
So what do you think is wrong with the game of Partey? He most of the time he's a team player. He does the simple things, releasing the balls. But I think that he's a high-profile player who plays for Arsenal in week in, week out, and you would expect so much from him. I mean, it's nobody's fault that you expect so much from a player like Partey. I mean, if you play at that high level for the Black Stars, and he's been around for a number of years, played for Atletico Madrid, played for. When it comes to the national team, you would expect so much from him. A few times we've seen him take responsibility, but most of the time, I think, I don't know, but he fails to step up to the occasion.
Yeah, that's where he lost the discipline. Tactically indisciplined.
Right.
That's what
Then we consider the goal.
Where we consider the goal, that one could happen to anybody because it happened so fast, and where he was supposed to play from isn't even close to the box. But it should have been just a communication, like giving information across to your teammates. Show him out, show him out, show him out. Not defend your pole, because when you're defending and then you are defending towards your pole, the chances of even scoring yourself is high.
Right.
So it's just the matter of communicating. Even before the ball came, first half he was throwing around, going to attack. Meanwhile, the position they have given him, each and every player should take responsible for their position, because if you are leaving your position, the coach knows why he put you there. But if you are leaving that middle there to the left or to the right, you are creating problem for the team.
But having said all that, it's obvious, isn't it, that the team, especially in terms of attack, lacked potency. You can count the number of times that the American goalkeeper was threatened for 90 minutes.
The writer, what did we want to do when we had the ball? There was no visible game plan. Were we doing the wing play, or wanted to do the combination play from the middle? How many times did we shoot at goal? How many times? Very difficult. So I tell you, if what John is saying, that Milo loves to have the team sit back, win the ball, and counter. When you sit and you win the ball and you counter, are you going to do the wing play? Or you play the ball to the spearhead to hold for support? We didn't have a spearhead of attack. The central defense of Morocco were virtually on holiday. The goalkeeper was virtually tested, except for the brilliant,
From pencil.
That was superb. That was brilliant. And the goalkeeper, I must say, the level for which his goalkeeping has reached, was able to pull out that save, because that could have been a perfect goal by all standards. Apart from that strike.
Well, the journey has only begun. I do not think that anybody is going to throw their hands in despair, because it's only the first game against Morocco. There is Gabon, there is Comoros also to play. On the evidence of this, what do you think will be the game plan of Milo getting to the next two games?
The writer, we have no option but to play for all. Meaning that we need to attack and attack and attack. And we need to attack. Why? Because we must score goals. If we want to win,
well, you don't believe this game they wanted to attack?
If they wanted to attack, did they do it? They didn't do it.
Is it a question of the kind of opposition that you encounter?
Well, the opposition could also influence your game, but you don't allow the opposition to influence your game. You take your game to the opposition. Look at the first half. I think the first half was fairly balanced. They all threw caution to the wind. Morocco was very cautious. But as the game progressed, Morocco grew in confidence. How come they were coming at us like that? Even when they scored the first goal, they were still Morocco, typical of Morocco. We would think that they would keep the ball, possess. But what happened? They were still coming at us because they had grown in confidence.
So there's something that was lacking, that our wing backs were not going.
That was the question I was there.
Yes, they wasn't supporting, because at least when the right side goes, the left one have to stay. So you will have three at the back, with Partey pushing a little bit forward. But most of the time, you will see two strikers, Jordan going on the right, Dede going on the right. You will find Pencil there. Then we have three men on the right lane. So that means the right wing back can go forward and come back. Meanwhile, if you have leave that hole for him, he would have come and cross the ball, then you have about 3 or 4 men in the box.
So I think even if they create that space and he brings in the cross, who is there to finish?
That's what I'm saying. If those strikers will spend more time in defensive area in the box, then leaving the wing backs to do more overlapping and do crosses, then you have at least 4 or 5 men in the box at all time. Rather than wasting more time as a striker, leaving your position, moving to the other side, that costs a lot of time for us.
Yeah, Abubakar, you know, the team has lost, and I do not think that it would be right for anybody to single any particular player for playing collectively. They lost. But we're analyzing the performances of the players. We spoke about the lack of potency up front, for instance. The fact that a team like that cutting edge, that bite up front. Jordan, I'm not too sure tactically how was he deployed, because a number of times we saw him on the far right, a few times in the middle of the pitch, and on a number of occasions that the team was attacking in the last third of the pitch, he was right about.
All know Jordan is not an out and out striker or a spearhead of attack. We know that. But then there must be a player who plays that role.
So in this team, who is supposed to play that role?
Well, I'm thinking that Pencil was there to fill that space which was being created by Jordan. But Pencil had a lot of work to do. So he did not have that energy, to move, to cover that 20-30 meters distance. It was too much for him. For which reason I think that we need to have a spearhead of attack where we can have a presence, at least between the two central defense of the opponent, such that we can always play the ball, hold, he can hold, and then we support play. But in the absence of that, there's nothing we can do. Because Jordan kept drifting from left to right. From left to right.
So that is a clarity I'm seeking. That is it a case that either he was tactically indisciplined, or the fact that the coach allowed him that freedom, that luxury to operate the way he did? I'm not too sure about that.
It could be both. It could be that the coach asked him to play the free role. But in playing the free role, what are your responsibilities?
So if Jordan was allowed to play that kind of free role, who was supposed to be the arrowhead in this team?
That is the big question that you and I will keep grappling over. Because there was no spearhead of attack. It's only after the substitutions when, what's the name of this tall player? Tete. When Tete came in, you could see the presence in the opponent's goal area. But it was too late. The timing was too late. So is there any other way we can tinker with, the position of the players or involving other players? I think time will tell.
Were you happy with the role of Baba Idrisu in midfield?
Yeah, I think he was doing quite well, but I think the day didn't favor any of them because they didn't play their game. If they were able to play their own game, I think things would have been different. But if you ask me how he performed, I think he did what he could.
So we saw all these substitutions. Is it your suspicion that in the next game we may not see the starting team that played today? Maybe Milo may alter his team?
Definitely, because such tournaments, there's no time for anyone. When they give you your opportunity, you must take it. But if you leave it for somebody to, and look at the time that that substitute came, that tells us that next game, those players, we are going to see them starting.
I'm sure that